What's going on, Soul Tribe? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Almost made it through. Justin here, and I hope you're getting pumped for the energies this week. It's a busy one this week. We got a lot going on here, especially the one that's happening on Saturday. Big Papa and Uranus are going to be having their big grand conjunction. I mean, they've been in conjunct for a while, but it'll be hitting that exact degree on Saturday. But before we get into all that, there, crew, for those of you who are returning, welcome back. I appreciate your likes, subscriptions, shares. I'm all backwards today. Your support really is just takes words right out of my mouth there, Soul Tribe. And it keeps us articulate. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I appreciate your I'm gonna get through it eventually. So we're gonna talk about. It's your weekly download. We're just going to jump right into it. So this is talking about the astrological weather that's going on for the week. And let's just get into it before I keep serving you up word salad. So this is going to be for the week of April 18th through the 24th. And like I said, we have a pretty busy one this week. So on Jupiter Day, Thursday, the 19th of April, we have Mercury retrograde that's going to be forming a conjunction with Venus, the lovely Empress, at 17 degrees and 32 minutes of Aries. Now, Mercury has been doing their retrograde backstep for a while. You know, they've talked with the Sun, they've talked with Chiron twice now, and they're almost going to get back to talk to the North Node. It won't form an exact, we'll talk about that next week. But Mercury's been kind of processing a whole lot. And I feel with Venus kind of coming into the mix here, Venus has been kind of feeling out this terrain, been feeling out the changes. She knows there's been this new. I feel like, because Venus is what we value, it's what brings us peace. And I feel that this energy is. Because conjunction energy, let me get into that. Conjunctions are this integration of energies, is when the planets are within, depending on the orb that you use, I like to use for conjunctions like a 0 to 3, sometimes a 0 to 5, depending on what's going on, but with orb of each other. And so the energies are trying to integrate with one another. So I feel that this Mercury retrograde is taking all of the things that have been happening, these any sort of changes, any sort of challenges that have been coming on, any sort of successes that have been going on. And it's just like, how are they integrating? How are they feeling with who you are trying to become? It's very interesting. It's almost like where we just got through with this big eclipse energy that's happening. There's a lot of excitement. I feel a lot of opportunities I feel like, even if you don't see it, it's just something like you can feel it, that the energy is coming. And that's Venus too. Venus can deal with our senses. And I feel with all this stuff that's going on here, the Sabian symbol for this conjunction is, because that's happened at 17 degrees, is phase 18 of Aries. And the Sabian symbols are, I like to think of it as degree theory, but it was these downloads that were and it gives a story for each of the 360 degrees in the zodiacal wheel. It's very, very, very cool. I have a link down in the description box for that book. But it's phase 18 of Aries, and it's an empty hammock stretched between two trees. And the keynote for this is a constructive alternation of activity and rest. And I feel that with all these things that are going on, like I was saying, there's going to want to do all of the things, but I do feel we want to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, especially I feel like our relationships with our mind, and you just slowing stuff down, because Mercury retrogrades, especially in Aries, is a slowdown, is an energy of patience. I still think about that guy at the bus. The patience is a virtue. And that, I feel, has really been kind of playing true. It's I feel like this is a time to appreciate the little victories right now, the kind of the small wins, because I'm just thinking too, when you think about Venus, she's sometimes referred to as the small benefactor. So I feel like it's appreciating these little wins right now and allowing yourself a little bit of time to rest, to feel like, to not have to force everything. Aries energy, I feel sometimes can want to just keep pushing and pushing and going and going and going. But with Mars being in Pisces still, Mars is still recuperating. He's still checking in. There's still some final pieces that he's letting go. He just finished doing his check-in with Saturn, and now he's getting ready to meet up. Mars is actually going to be pretty busy here. Oh, actually, today is a very busy day. Actually, now I'm thinking about it when we're talking about Mars. We'll talk about that in a minute. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Not just this week. This day is very busy. I'm speaking of Mars, but Mars is forming these last conversations with a lot of these kind of outer planets here before he gets, both him and Venus will be soon be entering into their home signs. So, but this energy has been more of a slower one. And so one thing with all of these big, I feel, visualizations and energies that are integrating, especially with, I feel, big Papa and Uranus. You know, again, we'll talk about that here in a little bit, but with that conjunction, these conjunctions that are happening, because we have quite a few, and it's been like that for a while with all of this kind of constant, all the planets being all kind of on top of each other. It's in points. It's been a lot of just a lot of integrating energy. So that Sabian symbol, I just feel like making sure to listen to your body. When it's saying that it's time to rest, take it seriously. Like, you know what? I need to pull back, because it's hard to do your best work when you're overspent. And again, Venus is that relationships, Mercury dealing with the mind, and the mind is in retrograde. So let it just kind of be, let things kind of gather, and just like as stuff intuitively makes sense, kind of, I feel Mars is kind of leaving breadcrumbs right now. He's like, I know, I hear you. I'm always pushing you, and now you're pushing me. You wanting things to change. I know it. Okay, things are going to be changing here soon, and very soon, because on this same day, let's move to the next energy. And this is a great time too, you know, while you're going through this stuff in the slowdown, to really think about the things that you're investing in, because the sun, the warmth, the mighty soul, is going to be entering into lovely Taurus at 6:58 a.m. And these energies are going to be happening in Pacific time. And I didn't mention for the first one, the conjunction with Mercury and Venus is going to be at 1:59 a.m. And with the sun entering into Taurus, now this is taking that energy, that whatever feelings that may have came up during that eclipse energy. And even when the sun entered into Aries, what if you felt that sort of breath of life? There's something when the sun enters into fire signs, and especially Aries, because you know the sun is exalted in Aries, but now it's taking that fire and sustaining that. It's questioning, does this thing that I've been investing in, does it really light my fire? Is this something that truly speaks to who I am? And do I feel that the things that I've built around this thing, you know, my personality, my job, my home, does this stuff really bring me this peace? Or is this something that maybe I've been doing because of out of like fear? Maybe you've been wanting to maybe be more of a nomad, been wanting to travel, but it doesn't feel like a safe idea. I actually know someone who, you know, had gotten a house, did the whole thing, and it wasn't working. It's a lot of work to maintain a home. And they were just like, you know what, sold the house and then ended up moving to a whole other country and just kind of living it up. And sometimes, and that takes a lot. That wasn't an easy move, you know, and it still probably isn't an easy move. They're going through the progressed moons in Scorpio right now, so it's probably a lot going on there. But there is this sense of freedom. That's why I feel like this real security, when we can, because Taurus energy it can deal with the tangible things, but I feel sometimes where it is nice to feel like have the security of the stuff and things. The real peace, a Taurus isn't just about that outer peace. It is about inner peace as well. When those things aren't there, how do you find balance? How do you keep cool in the chaos? You know, how do you keep grounded and adapt to this and keep working on this? Because the thing with Taurus can want things to stay where as they are, to not move, to be inactive, but it's life has to keep moving, you know, or else the energy gets stagnant. And Taurus is adaptable, but it is a slower energy, and this energy too invites us to slow down a little bit, to really kind of again evaluate what's going on, because soon we're going to be where the energies are going to be picking up a little bit. You know, when we get, especially with Jupiter enters into Gemini, that's going to be where things are going to start kind of taking off a little bit more. People are going to start, you know, there's going to be more communication, more talk. But I feel like it can be, even though we're picking up in that aspect, the Taurus energy, we can have that pickup over, you know, a cup of coffee somewhere, or maybe over maybe a cocktail, or maybe a nice dinner or a lunch, or, you know, Taurus is this energy of to indulging and tending to your senses, tuning into your, I feel it when we tend to, in learning our needs versus what our wants are, I feel is what this Taurus energy could kind of teach us as well, could invite us to kind of look into, because I feel like that's going to be very important in where the direction that we're going, and not even just in the micro and the macro, just in the grand, because Mars is going to be having a kind of a big, busy conversation with Big Papa and Uranus. At 8:28 a.m., Mars is going to be forming a sextile with Jupiter at 21 degrees and 30 minutes of Pisces, Jupiter and Taurus. And I feel the sextile energies, those are exciting energies. Those can be kind of passive energies. They can create, I feel, they create opportunities. You know, this can, especially when we're thinking about Jupiter, this can be getting excited about taking some long-term type of action. For example, maybe we're thinking maybe about some long game thing. For one, I feel like kind of solid example, for my vision board that I put for the Aries new moon eclipse, I put that I wanted to get my debt in order, get debt free and get out all worked out. And as I was just getting the images and getting them all posted in just one place, I received a call like the day before, like maybe a day before I was going to actually put the board together, and got something set up. It was a very intuitive thing. I just happened, and I'm not a social media scroller. I went to check Instagram for something, and a few clicks, I saw something about debt relief. A few clicks later, I'm getting something set up, and then now we have a manageable plan. And so that's how I feel Mars in this sextile, Mars and Jupiter can be this intuitive action, Pisces, that you feel that you need to take some sort of sign. Maybe you get a phone call, maybe you see a poster board, maybe you hear something on the radio, in a podcast, in the store, amongst a conversation, but it's something that I feel is going to kick off something that's going to happen a lot longer for you, that maybe even if it's not something that is happening to you, it may even something that can reinforce your faith, you know, and reinforce the actions that you're taking. And then I feel even questioning too, if there are any doubts in what you're taking. That's even exciting too, because it just gives you a chance to just double check, maybe even weigh out kind of the pros and cons, making sure that does this thing actually feel in alignment with me, which I feel is kind of nice that couples with this energy here, this next one too, because a little bit later at about 4:55 p.m., Mars will be forming a sextile with Uranus. Now at 21 degrees 46 minutes, Mars in Pisces, Uranus in Taurus. And Mars is going to be talking in a very close conversation with Uranus and Jupiter, when they form this grand, this grand conjunction that's going to be happening here. And this, I feel, is something that's important with Uranus, because Uranus is asking, I feel like with him having been in Taurus as long as they have been, this has been almost kind of asking us what are some things that we've learned is our worth, and what is our actual worth, and rebelling against the things that the ways that we may have pigeonholed ourselves, or maybe others have. And this, I feel, is feeling supported in a move that is unique to you, that may kind of rebel against, I feel, maybe the norm in what stability is, because Uranus has been changing that. What stability really means. Where we used to find this security is no longer a thing. That veil has been lifted and shook, and that's what Uranus does. Uranus shakes the collective, but it's to spur us to take these individual actions towards ourselves. And that's why I feel like these sextile energies could be, because I feel when you're working with that Uranus energy, when you're being the individual, being your true authentic self, and walking in alignment with who you are, and again, it's a process. We have these different constraints and things that have been on us. There's these limitations that we have to work around and work between, but it's coming into your power, knowing that you can work with these energies. But it's something intuitive. Again, it's something that this Mars energy, if you're gonna feel it before I think it actually materializes. But Uranus and Jupiter, I feel like, are really kind of checking in. Hey, what do you want? This is a powerful kind of visualizing energy. All this, I feel like it's taking what happened where your energy was at the eclipse, and really just kind of blowing it up, really kind of taking it to these next level stuff. Uranus is the higher mind of Mercury, and we've been kind of, Mercury's still retrograde when this is going on, so this is a time to take a minute from the everyday and tune into something bigger that's happening. To tune into, like, let's talk about the next energy, because on Venus Day, did I say it was a Sat? Yeah, is it Venus Day? Yes, I think I got my days right. Hold on one moment. Okay, yeah, I got my days. I thought I got my days mixed up a little bit. No, on Venus Day. Now I kind of took a little anticlimactic out of my heat there. It's fine. We're gonna build it back up, because on the 20th of April at 7:27 p.m., Big Papa's forming a conjunction with Uranus at 21 degrees and 50 minutes of Taurus. And they're going to be in this conjunction for a while. They're going to journey into 22 degrees. It's going to be happening for a while. But the reason that there's been a lot of talk about this energy too is that when the outer planets are having conversations, they don't happen often because they move very slowly. Jupiter takes a whole year to go through one zodiac sign, roughly. It takes them 12 years to go around the whole zodiacal wheel. Saturn, it takes roughly about 28 to 30. Neptune, 100 something. Or Uranus, I think it's like 88 to 84. It's a long time. And Jupiter and Uranus come together about every 14 years or so. And so there's this new conversation that's happening in Taurus. There's this, and I find this one very interesting, because I do feel this is a big one it's going to be a big test of faith. And it's not to get you concerned or anything, but it is to get us kind of checked in, because this is going to be the tone. There's big growth. It's because whatever Jupiter touches expands. So when we're thinking that when this is happening in Taurus, this is what's exciting about this, is that Taurus wants to materialize. Taurus wants to build. And Taurus will take its time with things. When it sets that, it's fixed earth. So when we set that intention, whatever this is, it's going to grow, it's going to flourish, and it'll be true to who you are, Uranus energy. It'll be something that will, I feel, inspire others, Uranus, to want to expand, Jupiter. And I feel that this is going to be a big challenge. The things that I feel, because when you think about Taurus energy, this is thinking too, not just about with what you value. This is thinking about how I feel like our relationship with the earth, and how that is changing. And because Taurus can deal with the environment and deal with that mother nature and getting in touch with that. And I feel that, it's the senses too. And I feel like it's paying attention to things that impede your senses from connecting to this earth, whether it be through technology. It's not that we're abandoning it, but because it has its conveniences, but we have so many things from. I was just listening to a podcast talking about how we've been disconnected from the earth, even just looking at our shoes. And I've mentioned this before. I remember hearing something about this a while ago, like talk about the whole grounding mats and things. And people will take copper wire and sticking them in the ground, and it's like there's a whole thing about how we're kind of trying to all kind of reconnect with the earth. And I feel that it's in listening to the earth, we reconnect with the cycles, and that's what I feel, the planets, the energies that are trying to even, just take it. Okay, you don't follow the planets, just looking at nature as a whole, looking at the cycles, observing that things take time. Things just don't, like, it's not like with Amazon, I order a tree and then a tree's here. I gotta plant a seed first. I gotta tend to it. I gotta plan the time that I'm tending to it. Because there's a certain time where this one's thriving, but this other one needs to do this. It's a complex cycle. It's a complex thing. And, I feel that this is a big one. So the Sabian symbol with this one, and this is again, this is where I feel like this is not an energy to be worked up over or anything along those lines. It's phase 52 of Taurus, which is a white dove flying over troubled waters. And the keynote for this is the spiritual inspiration that comes to the individual in the overcoming of crisis. And when it's talking about crisis, it doesn't necessarily mean that, because even though it's talk about Taurus, it could be world, and of course we are in a world crisis. There are beautiful things that are happening, but it's a weird balance right now with where things are at. And so I do feel I feel that this energy, the crises are going to keep coming, and that's not to be disheartening. It's to be more heartening. It's to be where, what, I'm going to be the change that I want to see in the world. I want to, this I feel is what happens when you keep, because this Sabian symbol alludes to like Noah's Ark and that whole story where he released the dove and then it came back, and then released the dove and then it came back with an olive branch, and then released the dove and then it never came back. And then that took it as a sign that, okay, now we can land. The water levels are normal. But I feel that there are going to be some things that are going to come up, and especially this is happening so close to the full moon, and we'll talk about that at the end. But we're having a full moon here too that's going to bring up, I feel, some maybe intense emotions. There's going to be full moon in Scorpio, and so I feel this is, how do you keep your faith when things feel tough, when you don't feel, the things that you've invested in maybe has changed. Your the stuff that you were so maybe rigid on has been shattered in a sense. And I'd say shattered sounds a little bit dramatic, but it can, I feel like it's keeping the faith in the hope that even through crises that we always get on the other side of this thing. That because Pluto in Aquarius is because Pluto's talking with that, and hold on, we're going to move to the next energy, but Pluto in Aquarius, I feel, is trying to show us the power in community. And where I feel sometimes we may want to kind of give up on the earth, I do feel that we could get through crises together better as a team than by ourselves. There are times where we do need to be with ourselves and understand how we can, there's the individual work that happens as well, but there's a lot of collective work that I feel, is happening as well. And the outer planets affect us as of individuals, of course, but they do have more of a generational influence. As you get after Mars, things start getting a bit broader. You start seeing bigger swaths of people with the same astrology. You can kind of usually around, like, when I see people, like, okay, I'll start seeing, let's say, like, oh, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus and Capricorn. Okay, they're around my age. They're within my age bracket. Okay, got it. Or then I see, like, maybe Pluto in Sagittarius. So, like, okay, that's within such and such bracket. Or like, so it's a little bit different. And I feel that I feel like that's going to kind of tie in with this next energy, because on Saturday, if you couldn't guess, April 21st, at about 4:49 a.m., Venus is going to be forming a conjunction with Chiron at 20 degrees and 9 minutes of Aries. And I think this is going to be an interesting one, because when I think of that overcoming crises with that conjunction with Jupiter and Uranus, in keeping the faith when we're not sure, when we're feeling challenged, we can feel that energy of frustration too. And that's where I feel that Venus is, that the Chiron wound, Venus is feeling that. She's feeling her fears. She's feeling her insecurities. She's feeling her limitations. And I feel that in itself can spur a crisis, because it's just like, well, you may have set these expectations, and then but there's all this work that's needing to be done. Maybe you thought that there was going to be this, and then something else pops up in the mix, whatever complications or whatever paths, kind of crossroads, whatever comes up in life. But I feel that this is what this Venus is doing. It can be, energies can always go whatever way you choose to work with. But I feel this energy can invite us to form a softer relationship with the wound, as opposed to coming at limitations and delays and misfires and things with aggression, and overcoming the crisis with, like, that, maybe that freeze, or that flight, that response. Or because the Sabian symbol for this one is very interesting. It's phase 21 of Aries, which is a pugilist enters the ring. And the keynote for this is the release and glorification of social aggressiveness. And I find that very fascinating, because I do feel that a lot of the times when we go to, even when you think about it, people are like, face your fears. You gotta fight this thing. You gotta do this stuff. There's always so much aggression behind it, when it comes to dealing with the growth and the healing. And I feel it has been something where, look at you, you toughed it out, you did this thing. But sometimes I feel with Venus is a receptive energy. And I feel that there's finding the power in feeling that wound and allowing that to hurt a little bit. allowing the energy to feel that insecurity so you can understand it, so that you can work with it and make a relationship with it, so that it doesn't continue to be, because I get it, where it's that motivation, that fight, like, yeah, that can be, when I'm picturing the pugilist, like there's someone, they're getting in the ring, they're going at it like, yeah, I got over my Chiron wound today, but then Chiron comes back from behind and knocks you, get you a left hook, and then you didn't see it coming, then it's knockout. And then, because this energy talks about, too, the duality of victory. No one just always wins all the time. It always balances out. It always balances out. So why not work together in that? Maybe there are some times where I'm feeling, I can use this energy as a strength. I'm feeling motivated. And there are other times where, there's something I need to deal with. I need to take a little time, be with myself. That when we're talking about Mercury retrograde and Venus in that hammock, relaxing, taking activity and taking time for rest. So I feel like there's finding this different type of strength with Chiron, forming a different relationship with the wound. And in that, I feel that allows us to come at others with compassion as well, because we all have a Chiron wound that we're dealing with. Mine is in Cancer in the 12th house. And so I'm healing through through this emotional space, this subconscious, unconscious wound that's going on, and, learning to let it go, and that's like a big focus, like my Chiron, I have Chiron, the Sun, Mercury, South Node, all in the 12th house. And it's, that's 12th house stuff it used to bring me down quite a bit. It used to bring me down quite a lot, and the feelings were just too much. And so now that's been something where I've learned to work with that a lot more. But in two, I've learned to work with that through others, and in that, it's helped me kind of heal myself too. Because then it's a whole beautiful thing. I feel this energy, and then it becomes less of a fight against. It becomes this collective battle. Then it's like we're all kind of trying to fight the same thing, but in different ways. It's a very fascinating energy that I feel this Venus in conjunct Chiron is bringing, but one that I feel can bring a lot of beautiful relationships, one with that inner wound within you, but also within other people as well, bringing that sense of compassion with it as well. But then a couple more energies here, and I'll get you out of here. We have also on Saturday at 10:02 p.m., the Sun is going to be squaring Pluto at 2 degrees and 5 minutes, the Sun being in Taurus, Pluto being in Aquarius. And now this is an interesting one, because now we're shifting gears. This is going to be the first square that's going to be happening, and all these planets that are getting ready to move into, now we have the personal planets soon will be moving through Taurus. They're going to be forming these squares with Pluto now. And I feel that what this is, I feel the Pluto energy is seeing where we've given our power as a collective, and then as the individual, the Sun energy is really asking us who I am. And Pluto is just like, oh, is that who you think you are? Oh, okay, well, what about this? Well, then what about, because Pluto is looking for the truth. Pluto is going to help you do the deep work. It's like, okay, no, I appreciate the work you did, but you may have overlooked this, and that. Maybe there's some other things that, did you consider that maybe this came from this because of this situation? How do you feel about that? Does that make, like Pluto can be aggressive, but I feel it doesn't have to necessarily be that aggressive. This can be a softer, more energy to this, where, because Pluto rules over Scorpio, and is associated with Scorpio, the guardian of Scorpio. And where Scorpio can be an intense energy, I was just talking with someone who has their Sun, Mars, and Pluto in Scorpio. A couple of them. The greatest people I've ever met. some of the loveliest people I've ever met. And there is this kindness, this loving energy that Pluto does have. it's a strange love. It's a very it is an intense love, but it's a very it's a love that you know that you can trust, you know, because it's going to yes, that's very interesting how that's coming out there. But what I feel this is doing is I almost feel like it's helping us reconnect in a different type of way. It's through these sort of this fractalization. The pieces are kind of breaking, but then they're reforming in a different way. Like the pieces, it's like maybe we've been kind of forcing puzzle pieces into spots that don't work. And now it's like Pluto's like, okay, let's shake the table. All right, let's do this puzzle for real. Let's put it here, put this here. Do you actually like this? No? Okay, let's move that here. And I feel like that kind of ties in with the last energy when we're getting into this full moon, because on the 23rd, on Mars Day, Tuesday, we're going to have a full moon eclipse in Scorpio. And I'm going to go more into this on my other channel, The Chariot and Friends. That's where I cover the lunar cycles way more intense, more closely. So if you're curious about what's going on with the lunar cycles, definitely check that out on my other channel. It's The Chariot and Friends. I have a link down in the description box below for that. And if you're curious too about how these energies are translating in your chart, how these planets are communicating with you, how you can work with these energies, book a reading with me. I have links down in the description box below. It can be a very valuable tool to get yourself in the, when you're in the flow of your cycle, you can get prepped and see the energies that are coming. You know, for example, with this full moon that's coming up, I have like 5 stacks of Leo. And so when the moon's in Scorpio, she's having a busy conversation in Scorpio. Every time she's entering that sign, just for an example, she's squaring my midheaven, Saturn, squaring Mercury, then squaring Jupiter, trining my Sun, sextiling Neptune, and then of course talking with my North and South node, sextiles and trines there, and then squares my Venus, my Mars. You see, so it's a very busy, very busy couple of days emotionally when the moon is in Scorpio for me. So I try to take those times to just really kind of be with myself, depending on what's going on. If because the last moon in Scorpio, I had a time, and so and this where this full moon is happening, it's gonna be, oh, I didn't write it's at 4 degrees. 4 degrees in some odd minutes. It's not past 40 minutes because it's very close to my, it's conjunct my midheaven and IC where this is falling. It's like happening like literally a few minutes before that's happening. So technically it's it's happening between my 3rd and 9th house, but it's like it's super close, and it's squaring my Saturn, and so and so it's. But this full moon eclipse is enough about my chart. The full moon eclipse, but yeah, check that stuff out. Also, I'm getting all over the place. Check that stuff down in the description. So I'll have links for that. But the full moon eclipse that's happening, that's when the sun and the moon are in opposition. And so this can be where maybe some relationships are, maybe some people may be questioning what you value. Maybe they've noticed that something in you has changed, and maybe there's fears behind that. Maybe you're having troubles maybe defending that value, or maybe not. And maybe there's this I don't want to say reactive energy, but you know, the full moon is this energy of release as well. And I feel that this can be a time where we're just releasing those fears, maybe of sharing what we actually believe in. You know, maybe your values have changed. Maybe you were pro this the other day and now you're this thing, you know. And it just can bring up, the moon in Scorpio is it's a tough place for the moon to be. She's feeling a lot more, and she's feeling a lot more, and just a lot more intensely. So I feel this is one, and again, Pluto it's like while Mars is having the conversation with this conjunction, Pluto's having a conversation with this full moon, this opposition that's happening, that's forming this T square that's going on here. So I feel that there's going to be kind of a collective thing that's going on with this moon, and this could be one where we need to just kind of be there for one another. And if we can't necessarily take on, maybe talk about it, at least allowing the space to be like, well, hey, like I'm going through this thing, maybe you wanted to meet up to talk with someone, kind of work some stuff out, maybe grab a dinner or whatever, and just like kind of work through these things. And, this could be where it's just like, maybe I'm not feeling that right now. I got to do this thing, but can we do this a little bit later? Or however this, exchanging our energies a little bit differently, finding our own type of peace there. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty busy week. I feel like it's going to be a lot of internal work that's going to be going on, maybe some, but overall, I feel like it can be one where you got a lot of stuff that you're working with. I feel like if we can kind of get this stuff in order, maybe we're journaling this stuff. Maybe this could be through some sort of creative practice. Maybe there's this. Maybe we're understanding this through maybe going on like a mindful jog or a walk or a run to kind of clear the mind, kind of help make some space, progress, and integrate all of these changes that are going on here. But yeah, there's some big shifts that are happening, and they're exciting. It doesn't need to be where it's like, oh my gosh, the energies. If that's where we get collectively, because I would see some of the stuff like with the eclipses, for example. They're like, well, the world didn't end. It's like, who told you the world was gonna end? Like what are we doing? Be mindful. Manifestation is powerful. So that's like let's just be be aware. And yeah, just show up more thoughtfully. I feel like things will take some time, but I feel like there can be a shift in the other direction. But I feel like again that Jupiter conjunction it's keeping that hope, and building on that hope. I feel like I like that. I had a different. I got a title idea that I want to do for this, but I think I like that, building on hope. I think that might be it. So I think I'm gonna leave that there, gang. But hopefully you enjoyed this. I'm gonna start doing some other things on this channel too. I've been feeling like I've been neglecting this a little bit with the weekly, but I have an idea because I don't want to overload my other channel, because I had a cool idea that I want to start implementing. So I'm gonna start doing some other stuff on here, maybe start doing some live stuff on here, so stay tuned for that. Maybe do like a surprise kind of chart analysis for lunar returns, or we could even do like if someone happens to have maybe a solar return that's going on there. Yeah, so just kind of going over some things, and maybe even going over like progress charts. I know someone who's getting ready to have a pretty active progressed year over the next couple of years, so just kind of doing maybe some little cold chart readings like that, or just kind of go over just like how to analyze your birth chart and things. So but all right, yeah, I think I'll leave that there. So stay mindful, stay aware, raise that vibration through the roof. Yeah, I think that's all I got for you. And I will catch you on the next one next week, Mercury Day.